think we got a heck of a shot of winning. We can beat anybody in the world, and I think we're going to win next Sunday.
David Wells has pitched a perfect game. 27 up, 27 down. Baseball immortality for David Wells.
And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Knicks lead 3-2. Bates against Joseph. Bates in on goal. Shoot! Mental! Defend Mental! And the Rangers have one more hell of a time, baby!
This is the Cross Island Sports Network, where iconic moments get iconic coverage.
You are listening to
the Cross Island Podcast, hosted by Lyle Gillen and Errol Marks.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new show of the Cross Island Podcast. My name is Errol Marks, my co-host Lyle Gillian. Lyle, what's up, bud?
Ooh, nothing much. Doing well.
Got something caught in your throat?
Doing well. Looking forward to having a great show with you today.
Yes, I am absolutely ready to have a great show. I want to give a shout out to all the fans out there that are listening to the podcast, and many different fans that have not listened to the podcast. Definitely listen to it every single week, every Monday, and it'll be posted on Tuesday on the podcast. Tonight, we're going to get into the Knicks' 9-game winning streak and how it came to an end to LeBron James in Madison Square Garden. Pulock and Pelech return to the Islanders. What does that spell for the Islanders? Hopefully spells something, because Patrick Waugh has not spelt a good shadow of tuna. Well, it does smell a little bit like tuna. Anyways, and then we'll get into at 7:30. We will have a very special guest. We will have Darius Kasparaitis on the show. So very, very fun show. So before we get into the Knicks, are you ready for Super Bowl Sunday, my friends?
I can't wait. I had my boxes all done. Can't wait to get the numbers. Can't wait to win some money.
You're going to win some money?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm going to win some money.
Do you ever win money?
Off the boxes? Yeah, I have a couple times.
Last year, did you win?
I didn't play it last year.
Well, I have a couple of boxes. I don't think I'm going to win, but, better hope or good hopes. Hopefully it happens. But anyways, I want to get into the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks are playing great basketball. Losing Julius Randle to a dislocated shoulder, a lot of people thought that things were going to start to fall apart for the New York Knicks, and it's been nothing but good basketball for the Knicks. And yes, they lost against the LA Lakers this past weekend, and everybody says, well, they lost against the Lakers. They lost their 10-game winning. They would have went on a 10-game winning streak, and that's fine. That's grand. But what the New York Knicks have done over the last couple of weeks is just remarkable. And it says a lot about Jalen Brunson right now, who's just playing the best basketball of his career. Right now, he's averaging 27.3 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, and 6.5 assists per game. This guy has been a number one guy. This guy deserves all the credit for the New York Knicks' success. Congratulations for being selected to the All-Star team, and then also being in the three-point contest where he'll have his chance to shine right in national television on ESPN. So I think it's on ESPN, but no, TNT. That's where it would be. But I'm looking forward to seeing Jalen Brunson in the three-point contest. It's been remarkable watching this team play. It really has been. And it has a lot to do with coaching. Tom Thibodeau changing the whole style of the offense, a fast-paced offense. It's really been amazing watching the New York Knicks play and really play great basketball. Dante DiVincenzo has been fantastic. He's been taking up a lot of the slack offensively for this team. And everything that's really the main thing that's really changed is the team defense. And I have to give OG Anunoby a lot of credit. This team has been completely different since OG has taken over and been a part of this team after the RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quigley move. But you know what stands out to me more than anything? They're getting quality points from the secondary players. I mean, Miles McBride, he gets a contract. After Emmanuel quickly gets traded, he gets a 3-year, $11 million contract. He's been sensational. He's been shooting the ball very well, and he's one of the better defenders at the position for the New York Knicks. And then you're getting Precious after getting traded from the Toronto deal. That's been a pretty good move, too, for the New York Knicks. He's been giving them a lot of extra boards, and it's helping Hartenstein, who's been – Isaiah Hartenstein's really been the heart and soul of this team. You say whatever you want about Jalen Brunson. Ever since Mitchell Robinson got hurt, this guy has been all over the place. He's been out rebounding teams in certain games. I mean, he had a 20 rebound game this year. He's had a 19 rebound game. So he's been sensational. They're getting everything from the bench, and it's been really sensational to watch. And here's the thing that really sticks out to me more than anything. There's nobody complaining. There's nobody arguing who's not touching the ball, who's not getting the ball. And Randall has changed. Ever since OG has been traded to the New York Knicks, this has been a different team. And you could see it in the team. You could see the talent that they have. They don't have, and a lot of people say, and I listened to TNT the other day when Kenny and Charles were talking about it and saying that the Knicks don't have a number one guy. They don't have a true number one guy that you could depend on. When you look at other teams, they always have the best player, and the Knicks have the second best player and maybe the third best player. They don't have the best player on the court. Well, I beg to differ. Jalen Brunson has been everything and anything you're looking for offensively from a team. And everybody keeps talking about Donovan Mitchell and Donovan this and Donovan that, who's a sensational offensive player. But Donovan Mitchell hasn't really changed an organization when he went to Cleveland. He didn't change an organization when he went to Utah because Rudy Gobert was there. I will say this. Ever since Jalen Brunson has signed with the New York Knicks, this has been a different team. He has been everything to the team. He's been one of the hearts and souls of this team, and it says a lot about this organization. It says a lot about Leon Rose, who's been a sensational GM. He's not the GM. He's the president of basketball operations, but he has been sensational. Him and Worldwide Wes. I mean, everything that they have done has turned to gold. I mean, a little pepper here and a little pepper there. I will say this. I didn't like the Fournier move, and the Knicks have been trying to move Fournier for the last 2 years, and it hasn't worked. But besides that, even the Julius Randle signing, if you go back and you look at the signing, it was a decent signing. Julius Randle got over I think it was $140 million. I think that he has done everything the New York Knicks have asked him. So I love what I've seen from this team. And Julius Randle's a different player. Now, I want to see him in the playoffs. I want to see that he's not the bricklayer. He's not the inconsistent playoff player he's been over the last couple of years. But everything that I have seen from this team shows me this is a team game. And I love that about the New York Knicks.
I thought they played a good game against the Lakers. They did a good job. They went into the fourth quarter with a 6-point lead. But what ended up killing them was they had like 7 minutes where they didn't score a basket, and that's really was the downfall of that game. The Lakers, they stopped going on their run. They got to a 4-point lead. I'll give the Lakers credit; they really shut them down. But the Knicks had plenty of opportunities to get back into that game when the Lakers got the lead, and they couldn't seem to get a basket for about.
Well, they couldn't stop LeBron James. They couldn't stop LeBron James.
Well, it was 104 to 100 for like 4 or 5 minutes, and the Knicks couldn't get a basket. And that's really what ended up.
Are you reading what Josh is saying right now? Josh is saying it was Kenny Johnson and not Barkley. First of all, Josh, I just want to let you know, Barkley agreed with Kenny Smith. I'm sorry. I said Kenny Johnson, but Kenny Smith. So it was Barkley too. Barkley said the same thing. The Knicks, and I'm not saying that Kenny Smith doesn't like Jalen Brunson. He's a New York Knicks fan. He grew up over here. So I understand what you're saying, but Barkley agreed with it. He agreed with it. The Knicks don't have the number one guy on the court, no matter who they play. And Barkley did agree with it. So he might have not said it, but he agreed with it. So if you agree with it, you're practically saying it. Now, that doesn't mean that Kenny Smith doesn't like Jalen Brunson. He loves Jalen Brunson. And if you're a Knicks fan, you can't hate Jalen Brunson for what he's done. He's transformed this team, the talent of this team, the fast-paced game that Tom Thibodeau is starting to run. I would have never, Lyle, thought that Tom Thibodeau was going to change his style of offense like he has over the last couple of weeks. It's been amazing. It really has. And it says a lot about what Tom Thibodeau is trying to do. He's trying to bring and give the New York Knicks an identity offensively, which we haven't seen. The last time the New York Knicks had an identity from offense to defense was really, I would say, in 93, 94 with Pat Riley. Everybody says 99 with Spreewell and Larry Johnson and Allen Houston. I don't think that team was that kind of, they weren't that fast-paced team. The New York Knicks like to run that fast-paced game with Pat Riley, play defense, really. And the one thing they had is they had speed. They had guys like, I'm not saying Patrick Ewing, but they had guys like John Starks. They had players of that magnitude. They had Charlie Ward, you know what I mean? So they had guys like that can run and really pace themselves up and down the court. And I've been very impressed with Tom Thibodeau. I really have. And I have to give him a lot of credit. And I think he's up for Coach of the Year. I think he's been, and by the way, congratulations to him being selected to the All-Star team too. Tom Thibodeau is going to be one of the coaches on the All-Star team. So congratulations to him. Very well deserved. He's going to be up for Coach of the Year again. He won it, I think, 3 years ago. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. And now he has a chance to win it again. And I was complaining that the New York Knicks kept him too long and all that other stuff. I'm going to take that back. I think Tom Thibodeau deserves a lot of credit. He is one of the reasons why this team is transformed, and he has been a big leader to this team and this organization. And if he could bring a championship home to New York, he grew up a Knicks fan. He's from the Connecticut area. He's always wanted this job. And I just, everything that he has touched and everything Leon Rose has touched this year has turned to gold. And that says a lot about this team. It says a lot about the growth of this organization. So congratulations to the New York Knicks. I can't say anything bad about what this team has done so far this year. They're on their way, and they might need to make a trade. And DeJounte Murray is a guy that everybody keeps talking about. He can transform the shooting guard position. You can move him to the shooting guard position. He's a pretty decent sized shooting guard in the NBA. I would say he's about 6'4", 6'5". He's a little undersized for some of these shooting guards in the league, but the guy is an all-world defensive player. He could shoot. He can go to the hole. He's averaging about 21, 22 points a game this year for the Atlanta Hawks. So I love what I've seen. As far as I'm concerned with the Knicks, but they're missing a piece. We don't know if Julius Randle will be back. And if he does come back, is he going to be at 100% this year? Is he going to be dependent on in the playoffs? They need another scorer. And I think DeJounte Murray would be a perfect fit for the Knicks because he plays defense. He goes up and down the court. He's he runs a fast-paced type of player that he's a Tom Thibodeau guy too. He likes to play defense. He's from the Spurs organization. So he's a Greg Popovich type of guy. So I love DeJounte Murray. I wonder, what are they willing to give up for him? Are you going to give up 2, maybe even 3 first-round draft picks for DeJounte Murray? That's what scares me about this.
They're going to have to.
You're trading away pieces. You're trading away your future, depending on if DeJounte Murray is the missing piece. Now, they do have him for 2 more extra years because he's under contract, so the Knicks have control of him. But the only problem here is the Knicks have been for years stacking up these core type of draft picks that could rebuild this team. And now all of a sudden you're willing to trade it for one player. That's what scares me about this. I'm not saying that there's a player in the draft right now where the Knicks are going to be drafting where you're going to get a DeJounte Murray, but you never know. Kawhi Leonard was drafted at 16. I mean, Emmanuel Quickley was drafted at 25 when the Knicks moved up. Look at the player he's turned out to be. And the Knicks have been very good in the draft. I don't know why they moved Obi Toppin. It made no sense, but he has he didn't have a good relationship with Tom Thibodeau, as we've heard in the playoffs last year. He wanted to choke him to death at the end of the playoffs. So there was stories coming out from the New York Knicks organization. That's one of the main reasons why he's gone. So there's a lot to get to get and understand with this Knicks team, but it is a week away. It's a week away. Next Thursday will be the trade deadline before the All-Star game.
See, you mentioned how you're afraid to trade those picks to get DeJounte Murray, but the Knicks should be, when you look at their roster, for the most part, every year in drafting in the late 20s and at minimum. And if you get DeJounte Murray and you give up those picks, historically in the NBA, the chances of getting a player of his quality that late in the draft the chances are pretty low. So would you rather give up those picks and in a weaker East to have a chance to get an NBA championship, or would you rather hold on to a couple of them, have them be nothing, and then be like in a couple of years, you know what? That would have been the year we should have went and traded those picks and got DeJounte Murray.
Here's the problem. DeJounte Murray is a good player. He's a great player. And I understand what you're saying. You have a chance to really win with this kid. And the Knicks have a chance to win if you had a guy like DeJounte Murray. Here's the problem. You decide to make this trade. You have no future. Grimes is going to be traded in this trade because you're going to have to give up a piece right now on the roster. So Grimes is gone. You traded Emmanuel Quigley. You traded R.J. Barrett. Okay? You have a bunch of players, all the players. And this turned, and I'm not saying this is the Nets when they decided to scoot away and trade for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They signed, and then they traded for James Harden. They traded away their future. But it's not the same, but it's similar. Because now you're taking a chance on other players from other organizations, other teams that have drafted that were not successful in the league. Did DeJounte Murray win anything as a player? No. Did Jalen Brunson win anything when he was in Dallas? Well, he went the furthest. He went to a Western Conference Finals. They did lose, but he went there. But a lot of these players never won. So you're bringing in players and you're trading away future players that you wanted to build around. And this is something that a lot of these GMs do. They draft these players, they build them, they trade them, and they go on and have better careers in other places. This is not what I want to see the New York Knicks do. And by the way, DeJounte Murray was a first-round draft pick in 2016. He was the 29th overall pick.
Yes,
draft.
Yes, yes. But historically, the chances of getting a player successfully in the late 20s like that are a lot slimmer. It's not. You're essentially you're saying, hey, what about the future? Which I understand, but your future would be now. Your future would be right now and trying to win an NBA championship, but the Knicks have not.
But they're not ready to win a championship. And I don't think DeJounte Murray is going to change that. I think that they're right in the mix of it. There's no guarantees they're going to win. Now, they're one of the top 4 teams that some people will say could come out of the East. But there's no guarantees to that. That's a 7-game series. You got to go through the Celtics. You got to go through you got to go through Philly's. They're ahead of Philly right now. And Philadelphia,
they have a big thank you to the Nets for that, because if they didn't, that would be a 3-way tie for 4, I believe.
Joel Embiid, he's not 100% healthy. We don't know if he's getting surgery or not. So Philadelphia, but the Bucks are another team that there's a lot of questions. They bring in Doc Rivers, a non-winning coach. Yes, he won a championship with Boston, but he's been a coach for 20 years. He's only won 1 championship. So he's not a successful coach in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. So the Knicks are there. Does DeJounte Murray spin the wheel and make the deal for the Knicks to win a championship? I don't know. They don't beat Denver in a 7-game series, even if they go to the championship game. I don't know, or the championship series, the NBA championship. I don't know if they're going to win. I don't know if they could beat Denver. Now, right now, the Timberwolves are a significantly improved team, but I still question the Timberwolves and if they can compete in the playoffs. They haven't for years. They've been making the playoffs, squeaking into the playoffs. They have a 2-1 lead against the Grizzlies. They lose against the Grizzlies. So, or I think they had a 3-1 lead actually against the Grizzlies at one point. But I want to see more consistency with this team, and I don't know if DeJounte Murray is the guy 110% that's going to change that. So, are you willing to give away 3 first-round draft picks in this coming draft to add DeJounte Murray? I don't know. I don't know. Pelech and Pulock are back. All-Star Game week is over. And by the way, congratulations to Austin Matthews' team, which actually had Matthew Barzell on it, who won the All-Star Game championship. I think they won, didn't they?
Yeah, they won. They won the championship.
Yep. And also, congratulations to some of the Rangers. Shesterkin, he was on that team, and so was Trocheck. He was on that team too. So 2 Rangers and 1 Islander and Austin Matthews. So I think right now, I don't care what anybody says. And congratulations to Connor McDavid winning the skills competition. I enjoyed that. And he's the most skilled player in the NHL. I mean, you can't really argue that. He's the fastest. He has the best stick handling skills. I mean, the guy, probably one of the, if not the best shot, the second best shot. I think Austin Matthews has the best shot in the NHL. That's just my opinion. But I think Connor McDavid is the best all-around player in the NHL we've seen since Wayne Gretzky. So he's that kind of player. But I think Austin Matthews deserves a lot of credit this year because I think he's the best offensive player the NHL has to, when it comes to goal scoring. I mean, the guy has a tremendous ability of putting the puck in. And I watched him this year against the Islanders. He scored 2 goals in the game. He's a sensational player that demands double teams, triple teams at some aspects of the game. So I think he's fantastic. I think he proved that at the All-Star game why he's one of the greatest American-born offensive players we've ever seen. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Before he's done, he will break every single American-born record.
He very well could, but until he does, it's still Mike Modano is the best American.
Dude, he's going to break Mike Modano's goal scoring record in 2 years. In 2 years.
Well, we'll see at the end, but
I met Mike Modano. I met Mike Modano, and I watched him play. I love Mike Modano as a player. I watched him on the North Stars. I watched him in Dallas when they became the Dallas Stars. He was a sensational player. There's no question that he was, and he still.
I don't think he passes Mike Modano.
Oh, I do. He's 26 years old.
Yeah, he has 1,359 career points. I don't think he gets past that. Goals 557.
557. Do you know how many goals he has right now? 336. He's breaking that goal record in a couple of years. He averages 40 to 50 goals a year.
Maybe, but points is going to be tough.
What does he have in points? Mike Modano.
1,374.
I want to see what Austin Matthews has right now. Austin Matthews. Let me see. Bring it. Okay. Austin Matthews in 527 NHL games. Now, how many did Mike Modano play?
1,499.
1,499. That's almost 1,000 more games. Okay. Austin Matthews has 339 goals, 261 assists, and 600 points in 527 games. And he has how many points?
1,374.
Oh, he's gonna breeze right past that in about 5-6 years. 5-6 years, he'll breeze right.
5-6 years. I don't know. We'll see when he gets closer to 30 how he what he does. But
his game doesn't have anything to do with speed. His game has nothing to do with speed. He's a great skater, but his game has nothing to do with speed. It has everything to do with scoring skill.
I didn't mention anything about speed, but we'll see how he does when he gets closer to 30. And
I will tell you this:
I don't think he can pass it. I just think it's very difficult to.
I don't think it is. He's 26 years old, Lyle. He's 26. His style of game and the way he plays the game, he could play another 10 years at a high level. And he'll be 36. I mean, Ovechkin, he started dying down at the age of 37, 38. This guy is just as big, just as skilled as Ovechkin, maybe even more skilled. Okay, so yeah, it's crazy to say, but it's true.
What Ovechkin is doing this year is pretty actually scary because he completely fell off to 9 goals this year so far. And it's very shocking.
Well, I don't know. It's shocking. He's 38 years old. His legs are starting to get, tired. I mean, his body's starting to wear and tear. He was in the NHL for 20 years now? It's a long time being in the NHL, being at the top of the game, scoring 50 goals a season, 60 goals a season. You can't really take that away. He's probably the best goal scorer we've seen really since, I would say, Mario Lemieux or Teemu Selanne. Those kind of goal scorers. That's how good he is and how good he's been. So I have to say a lot about.
I would compare him more to Yager. I think Yager had that sustainability.
He was better
throughout
than
the year.
Younger. I think he's better than Younger.
Yes, but if we're saying since somebody else, I would say probably because not only is he doing it at a high quality, he's doing it for a long period of time.
Well, what do you think about the return of now? Pelech's been around for a little bit, but now Pulock. If you're Patrick Waugh right now, do you put them together? Do you pair them together and have two consistent pairings moving forward on your way to the playoffs if they make the playoffs?
Well, two things. One, I said it this whole time. I'm going to stay with it. They will make the playoffs. They have one of the easier schedules for the teams competing for
a playoff spot.
Playoff spot, yes. And you don't want to break up Dobson and Romanov. They've been great together. And Bolduc and Aho have been awful. I think dropping those two for Pelech and Pulock is probably the no-brainer decision. But it all depends on what he wants to do. Currently, the Islanders are beating Toronto 1-0.
They're beating Toronto right now?
Beating Toronto 1-0 right now.
They've played well against Toronto this year. They've beaten Toronto twice.
I'm not sure.
And they have a chance to beat them again. I think it's in Toronto, right? Is it in Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a chance again to beat Toronto. And they've played very well. They match up very well against Toronto. And that's hockey. It's a game of matchups. And that's the difference between, when you look at basketball, it's if you have the best player, you have the second best player, in the game, it gives you a better chance of winning. I think with hockey, it's all about consistency and development with some of the youngsters that they have. And I think the Islanders have a chance. But the problem is that scares me right now. You have the Carolina Hurricanes, who has played one less game than they have. They have 61 points. That means they're 9 points ahead of the Islanders. That's about 4 games and you want to catch Carolina, you want to catch the Rangers, because the other teams in the Atlantic Division are going to be hard to catch too. I mean, you have right now Detroit 58, Toronto 58, Tampa 59, Florida 66. Boston 71. Boston's impossible to catch, and I think Florida is going to be impossible to catch. So you got to compete with those teams. And Detroit right now, what scares me about Detroit is they're so young. They're so very young and so very fast. And Steve Yzerman has this team playing. So they're dangerous. And I think that if they squeak into the playoffs, nobody's going to want to play them no matter what seed they are. So I think they're one of those scary teams like the Florida Panthers were when they snuck into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They're young. They're getting good goaltending right now. Detroit's getting good goaltending, and they're scoring at will. So the Pulock Pelech thing is an interesting thing because Patrick Waugh needs to figure something out. I mean, this has not been something that I enjoy to watch with this Islander team. Ever since Patrick Waugh has taken over for this team, they're still trying to figure out who their identity is, what their identity is. And that's a problem. And I don't know what's going on with Sorokin. I don't know. Varlamov is up and down. He's hurt. He's not healthy. So Sorokin needs to figure this out. This is a second half.
I'm going to defend Sorokin for a minute. When you have the team playing that bad defensively in front of you, it's hard to get a rhythm. And if you can't get a rhythm in net, it can kind of be inconsistent, which he has been. He's had stretches where he's been great, and then he's had stretches where he's been awful. And I think if they can fix the defensive issue, they'll be fine. Right now, they are only 4 points behind Philly with 1 game in hand, and Philly does not have Carter Hart. They're probably not going to have him the rest of the year. I think Philly's going to end up missing the playoffs now because of it.
That sex scandal is crazy, man.
It's absolutely insane. Devils are going to be probably without McLeod for probably forever. You're probably never going to see him again.
Really? You think forever?
I don't think. I think these players are going to go to jail, and I don't think they're going to be.
Here's the problem, and we don't know the story, and I don't know the full. I read a piece of the article about the whole Hart thing and McLeod and all these other guys that are involved with it. We don't know the full story. We don't know if it's fully true. All of them have come out and said this is a lie, that they did not have sex with this girl. I think that's what they said, and they definitely didn't rape her. So Why did she come out after what was it? 2017, 2018? It was a while ago. This is 4 or 5 years ago. So it's going there. She's going to have physical proof. If you remember the whole Kobe Bryant thing, Kobe Bryant had a very good chance of going to jail. I mean, supposedly he raped this girl. Then they tested her underwear. She had 6 different semen samples on her underwear. And it was pretty much knocked out of court. A lot of people, and I'm not saying this girl's lying. I did not say that, but we don't know the full truth. You can't point fingers. And even though the NHL is investigating this, and obviously the authorities are investigating this, it doesn't mean that these guys are guilty from it. So it's going to take a long time for them to convict these guys. It could take 2-3 years. I believe Hart will be back this year. I think McLeod.
I don't think any of these guys will be back this season.
I do. And once they investigate it a little bit, the NHL's investigating, seeing what they're going to suspend them for, because they haven't suspended them for the season. They just suspended them indefinitely.
No, they didn't suspend them. They took an indefinite leave.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not.
They weren't suspended. The players themselves decided to take a leave from the team.
And I think that would be the smart thing, because they don't want to be the face of this situation right now, and the race for the playoffs. So it's interesting. It really is. I don't know the true story behind it. I'm sure we're going to find out, but I read Hart. I read what Hart said, or his not his agent say, his lawyers say that he was not guilty. He's not guilty of this. He had nothing to do with this, that it's a lie. So, and McLeod did that. His lawyer said something in the article as well, saying that he had nothing to do with it. It was 4 guys. It was 4 players that were involved with this scandal. So there has to be physical proof. If there's no physical proof, look, everybody wanted to throw, they want to throw athletes under the bus because they have a ton of money. Basketball players. How many times have we seen basketball players being accused of beating their girlfriends, which have come out to be true, and football players beating their girlfriends, which have been come out to be true. But guess what? There were video of it. It was videoed. There's no video of this. So she's going to have to prove that she was sexually abused by these 4 guys.
Well, we are currently waiting for Darius Kasparaitis. He is not currently in here yet. In the meantime, we'll continue talking about the NHL.
You want to continue talking about the NHL?
Yeah, until he gets in. I can text him in the meantime and see what.
Yeah, well, you know what it is watching the NHL right now. You're going into the second half of the season. The trade deadline is about a month away, and teams are still in it. So who's going to be available at the trade deadline? That's the problem here. We know Ottawa. Ottawa will trade off pieces. They're willing, but they have a new ownership now. They have a lot of money. They've invested a lot of money into this team and this organization, and now a new stadium. So I'm going to tell you this. It's not going to be – Ottawa's not going to trade away any of their youngsters or the talent that they're building their team around. They could trade away Tarasenko or something like that. I mean, that could happen, but I don't see them trading away a Kachuk or any of that, any of that talent. So Montreal's another team. They just traded away Monahan. I mean, that was a big trade.
Yes, and
away Monahan. So
a lot of a lot of people thought the Rangers could be a target for him.
Mm-hmm.
With Hedl out for the year. Now people think it's Arthur Staple reported that Vetrano could go back to them, and Adam Henrique. Apparently during All-Star break, they did reach out and contact the Anaheim Ducks. I think that could be tough cap-wise.
Henrique's an old man. I remember when he was drafted by the Devils. I think it was Henrique was on the Devils, right?
Yeah, he was. I think that the
Adam. No. Is Henrique the Devils, or did Tampa draft him?
It was the Devils. He was the Devils for a while.
Yeah, Henrique. That's right. He was a Devil.
I think a very underrated, cheap trade that Rangers could make would be for Jeff Carter. The last year of his contract, he is old, but he still has a 63 face-off percentage. He has the leadership qualities that you look for a guy in the playoffs. He has the experience. He's won a few cups. I think that's really where you want to.
What are you saying over there? What are you looking? Is
Darius? I think that's really where you want to. Yeah, he didn't get the invite. I think that's.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Producer over here.
I think that's really where the Rangers could use a little bit more depth. Maybe 13th forward. Maybe the guy could play fourth line center. I think that would be a big help for them.
I think that the trade deadline, like I said, it's about a month away, so there's a lot of things that could happen, but it's open to debate. But Boston right now is just far and along the best team right now, I think, in the NHL. They're just playing great hockey. Colorado obviously is playing great hockey as well, 32-14, and has 67 points in 49 games. They've been unbelievable. Dallas has been so impressive this year. I love what Dallas has done over the last couple of years, really rebuilding this team with the great youngsters that they have over there. Arizona, obviously is playing better than they were the last couple of years. They're not in last place. Chicago, again, might have and might win the number one pick again. It's crazy. They have a great young player. They have a great one in Connor Bedard. And now Chicago could actually get the number one pick this year, too. I mean, they have 30 points. They're right now, in fact, the worst team in the NHL. So they have a chance again to land the number one pick. So it's crazy. This team could rebuild. And if you remember this whole Patrick Kane and Tames move, remember in the night, was it early 2000s when they drafted, I think it was Tames. And then I don't know if it was back-to-back years, but I think it was the other it was Tames was drafted. I think the year after they didn't draft any, they didn't have was it a first? Was it back-to-back years with Patrick Kane and Tames? I don't know, but I think Tames went one, and I think Patrick Kane went one. And I think this is the same thing that's going to happen in Chicago here.
Tames, I think, went second or third.
Did they? Did he? I thought he was the number one pick.
Kane was, yeah. But Taves, I believe, was the second or third overall pick.
Still, when you get these high draft picks, Chicago has a chance now to get a top 3 pick, might even win the lottery again. And they're going into another draft where they have a chance to have 2 superstar young players that they could build their team around. So it's crazy. That's the only thing I hate about, this lottery. And the Islanders have never had luck in lottery, but then again, when the lottery came around, the Islanders didn't have a chance to get the number one pick. I mean, the last number one pick they had was John Tavares, who decided to flee and screw the Islanders. So it's crazy. It is crazy. It really is. But I'm not a big John Tavares fan. But anyway, Tavares fan. Anyways, I want to introduce a very known veteran defenseman that played in the NHL for many, many years. Played for the Islanders, played for the Pittsburgh Penguins, known as a tough guy, Mr. Darius Kasparaitis. Darius, what's up?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
You look good, man. You still look young. You still look like you could play a couple more years.
Yeah, if I had a right knee, if my right knee was good, I can still play probably.
Do you play anymore? Do you play pickup games or anything?
Yeah. I play once, twice a week still. We have a bunch of guys that we meet up in Miami near the beach, and we play hockey.
Oh, look at you. You play roller hockey or are you playing deck hockey?
Real hockey. Actually, Mike Dilzado just joined my team. Michael Dilzado, then Jason Garrison. So we're building a new team.
Ex-NHL players beating the hell out of each other. It's great hockey. Sand hockey, baby. Anyways, but why don't we get into your career? You've had a sensational career. Tell us a little bit about your time with the New York Islanders.
Well, first of all, I was drafted. I never knew before I was drafted much about New York Islanders, and then when I came to Long Island, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought New York, Islanders were in the city, but they were in Long Island. So it was, it was my first team, but actually my my first year was probably the best year I had in the NHL because I had such a good team. Everything was new. We went deep into playoffs, and I think I remember every single player on that team when I played. So my first year with the 92-93 Islander team was probably the most fun I had.
Speaking of the 92-93 team, what was it like in the locker room after Pierre Turgeon got that hit from Dale Hunter?
Well, guys were very upset. We won a series, so it was kind of sadness, but same time, we are celebrating. I think we thought that next round we have no chance against Pittsburgh Penguins, so we just enjoy the moment. And I think we kind of knew that Pierre is not going to play, but same time, I thought even if with Pierre was playing, I don't think we can beat Penguins at that time. We just had little celebration, and that's it. I don't think we concentrate a lot on actual hit because we have to get ready for next series.
We are speaking to ex-Islander, ex-Pittsburgh Penguin, ex-Colorado Avalanche, ex-Ranger, Darius Kasparaitis. Darius, you mentioned Pierre Turgeon. Pierre Turgeon was elected into the NHL Hall of Fame. Finally, I don't understand why they were holding him up to go to the Hall of Fame. Tell us a little bit about your time with the Islanders and playing with Pierre Turgeon.
Well, I always remember Pierre's pregame meals. He only ate spaghetti with tomato sauce. I think that was his, I was, when I came from Russia, I thought that spaghetti was for poor people, when you have no food. So something, was not right with his diet. But otherwise, Pierre was, a great, skilled, a good player. Maybe a little quiet in the locker room because, was French-Canadian. But otherwise, I actually spend a lot of time with Pierre right now. Sometimes we play in Pompano Beach against each other. He's a poor loser. He cannot take the pressure anymore. He always complains that I trash talk, and he thinks that, that's not nice. And I really feel bad for him because even being a Hall of Famer, he has a very soft, soft heart, and doesn't like to be, he doesn't like to lose basically. But so far, he lost all the games to me.
I wouldn't want to lose either. I'm just saying. But so you are one of the unique players that got the chance to play for the Islanders and Rangers and have the chance to see both sides of the rivalry. What was that like seeing both sides of that?
Well, I think as an Islander, you actually pumped up for the games more. I think as a Ranger, I think when you play for the Rangers, I think you play against any team they want to beat you. So you kind of, I guess, nobody likes New York Rangers, like nobody likes New York Knicks or New York Yankees. So I think that's the same mentality when you go to any town. Even when I play for Pittsburgh, every time we play Rangers, we want to have a great game against them and make sure you win. So I think when I play for Islanders, my first couple games, I remember was huge because even I remember Mick Vokoda was telling me, this is a different hockey, this is a war. And you felt it, you felt that there was, a lot of Ranger fans in the stadium and Coliseum. And it was Islander fans. You can see people fighting in the stands. And then there was a lot of fights on the ice in the early 90s. Then when I played for the Rangers, it was a little different because I feel like, it's like, you're playing your noisy neighbor. Like you're playing your little brother, basically. So that's how it felt. But still, it was a big game for us. And, I enjoy both sides of the rivalry.
It's so funny. I grew up a Mario Lemieux fan. I think he's the greatest hockey player of all time. I don't care what anybody says about Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux or Gordie Howe. I think Mario Lemieux is the greatest player to ever play the game. What was it like to play with Mario Lemieux?
Oh, if you can feel his aura in the locker room every time. I remember I got traded. I was so nervous because of my history with him, and that was the last team I expected to ever get traded to, Pittsburgh Penguins. And I know how much they hated me there, but same time, I realized, playing on that team, especially my first couple of years, having all those great players, Lemieux, Jagr, Francis, Tom Barrasso, I felt, I realized hockey is fun, seeing them practice, seeing them getting ready for the game, especially coming from Long Island after 2 miserable seasons with Mike Milbury and Fisherman logo, it was a big change for me. So Being with Mario, it was kind of, like being with Wayne Gretzky on the same team, basically. He knew that it was a legend. He knew that everywhere you go, people follow him. So, it was a lot of excitement playing on Pittsburgh.
So, I grew up, my family always played hockey, and we would go to the rinks. And at the rinks, they had someone who worked there, Alexei Nikiforov, and
Yeah.
I know he was very important to you in your career. Can you maybe tell us what he did for you and for your career?
Well, first of all, I'm so lucky that I had him as the coach, especially as my first coach in hockey. He put a lot of emphasis on skating, and I hated it in the beginning, but he always, worked on our skating skills, and I think that's why I think I achieved a lot because I think I was a good skater because of that, and also, you know, he put me on defense, because he saw my aggressiveness, how I play as a kid.
Uh-huh.
So he put me as a D right away. That was my role right from the beginning. And I had a lot of. He also saw in the character because I remember one incident when I was maybe like 9 or 10. He was screaming at me in the locker room during the game, and I threw my hockey glove at him. Uh, so he basically kicked me out of the team. And the same night, he came to my house and spoke to my dad, telling him to make sure he comes back tomorrow to practice. Alexei was a big part of my beginning of my hockey career because he actually spent a lot of time working on skills and on my skating abilities.
We are talking to ex-NHL bad boy Darius Kasparaitis. And what is it with everybody? Everybody that I've spoken to, I've talked to Keith Primo in the past. I've spoken to Brendan Shanahan. I have spoken to a lot of people about you, Darius. What made everybody hate you so much when you were on the ice?
Oh, because I don't think anybody likes to get hit, especially with the head down. And I think uh, you know, physical aspect of the game. You kind of always, you know, don't want to deal with that. And I play like that. I was always in your face hockey player. So a lot of people got irritated, especially when you go after the star players from the team. And so a lot of people lost composure. And it's the way. I realized when I came to Islanders, I realized that playing physical hockey is very appreciated by fans. And being coming from Soviet Union, from the Russian system, we didn't really play physical hockey. Only when we play Canadians. But otherwise, it's about moving. It's all only about moving the puck and control and not dumping the puck in. So when I came here and I started hitting people, I realized people love that. So I kind of took that as a talent, and I pursued that aspect of the game because I realized that it's a good thing to do. Make nice hits.
When your time with the Rangers, you started the post game salute that they would do at center ice.
Yeah.
What motivated you to really start that?
Well, it was right after the lockout season. We had the longest shootout game in history at that time. Marek Malik scored a beautiful goal. I was the last guy on the bench to go, and I actually asked Tom Rennie to go before Marek Malik, but he said no. Tom Rennie told me I go before you if I have to go as a coach. So and then everybody, after especially that beautiful goal, everybody was so excited. So I told Jagger, let's go and gather all the guys in the circle of the ice and raise the stakes just to appreciate the fans. And a lot of guys were confused what we're doing, but we did it, and people went crazy. So we started doing this after each game when we win, and he just I didn't know it's gonna stick like that, but it stuck. A lot of team follow. That's just appreciation of the fans.
Darius, who was the player you couldn't stand to play against? You couldn't stand him. And who was the player that you loved to play against when you played in the NHL?
Well, I don't think I never liked playing against Alexei Kovalov because he was so skilled, and especially I tried to hit him. It was impossible. He was such a cool and fancy player. Same thing, I think Peter Forsberg was a very hard player to play. Well, I love playing against Mark Messier, Eric Lindros. I knew always I can get under their skin. With the big hit, and they stop playing and they want to go after you. But yeah, guys like that, the bigger the player, was for me, was more, I love challenges, so I always went after the big guys.
Yeah, of course. I'll tell you why you went after the big guys, because you were Mighty Mouse. People used to call you Mighty Mouse. You used to go, you get under their skin, you would talk crap. Eric Lindros was the biggest, baby on the ice. I remember him, how much he cried to the referees. And you mentioned Eric Lindros. I was waiting for you to bring up Eric Lindros. Was his brother? I don't know if you played with his brother. Was his brother? Did you play with his brother?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, first year he came to the NHL before he got concussed.
Was he like his brother, Eric?
No, I think Eric was much talented and stronger person. Brett was okay, but not as a good skater as Eric. I think he had a good future, but I think he got hurt very early, so he made a decision not to play anymore. But I think being a brother of Eric Lindros maybe affected him too. It's a lot of pressure to follow steps of your big brother.
I know you're a very big Manchester City fan.
Yeah, big win today. Big win.
I'm a Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
So I have to get your opinion on the what people were saying about the 115 financial fair play violations that they had.
Yeah, but it's I'm not sure if it's anything to do with the team, because people don't like to see somebody playing good. I think they make up all the shit, and I think that it's eventually they're gonna probably forget about it. But nobody likes to see teams succeed like Manchester does. Manchester City. Every year they somehow find a ways to win, and right away people talk about money. But if you really go through all the money things, Man United spend more money than Man City over past 5 seasons. But it's not about the money. It's about having a good system. So I don't know. Man United can wait.
Have you ever been to Manchester?
Oh yeah, many times. I watched actually Man United, Man City last year, FA Cup Finals, and a game that Man City won 2-1. Yeah, 2-1. Yeah, 2-1.
Before we let you go, okay?
Yeah.
I have one quick question to ask you because it's a very good one. Who do you have winning the Stanley Cup this year?
Oh, this year?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, you know what? I feel like Boston Bruins, maybe?
Boston Bruins? How about Colorado this year? I like Colorado.
I don't know. I don't really watch hockey.
Huh?
But hopefully Islanders,
That'd be great.
Islanders.
Yeah.
But first of all, let me ask you quickly. I'm sorry, it was the last question, but what did you think about the Patrick Roy hire?
Well, it's kind of weird, but it's good. I think he's a very talented coach. He's a very emotional coach. I think that's what they need, as long as he doesn't lose his head. It's frustrating because when you are such a successful player as he is, I think he had a great job in Colorado. I don't know what happened there, but same time, I think that's a good fit for the Islanders. To get the guys motivated.
All right, Darius, we really appreciate you, man.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you for all your time. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Good luck in your hockey league, by the way. I heard him. But good luck in your hockey league, Darius. It's fantastic. He really is a good guy, man. Great hockey.
Thank you very
player.
much for coming on, Darius.
Yes, he was fantastic. Definitely send him a message that he was fantastic. It was a great interview. We got out a lot of questions, and he answered them pretty well. I don't know what that sound was, but
I think he might have had it going through his phone, so when you would talk, it would echo.
Interesting, but it was a fantastic interview, and it tells me, it says a lot about who he is as a player, and it really stands out. What he has done in his career, his personality, and really what he was as an NHL player. He was a mean guy. He was a bad boy. He loved to get under every guy's skin. Mario Lemieux, 6 foot. He says he's 6'4", but he was really 6'6", 240 pounds. He got under his skin many, many times. Jaromir Jagr, he got under his skin many, many times. I heard from, obviously, Brendan Shanahan told me he was the biggest pain in the ass he's ever met. I mean, as a player. I mean, Brett Hull told me that Darius, he was the top 3 biggest pains in the butts on the ice. He always waited for you to put your head down, and then he tried to hit you. And
that wouldn't work today.
Yep. No, it wouldn't work. He wouldn't last a second in the NHL if he did that now in the NHL with the new rules. So, but he, like he said, he doesn't watch hockey anymore. He doesn't really pay attention to hockey. He's like, now he still plays hockey over there in Miami, and he loves the aggressive game, and he loves to, be Darius Kasparaitis. But what makes him so special, what made him so special is he really, as an Islander, he had that attitude that Islander fans loved. And what they've been craving for years. They're trying to find that other bad boy. They haven't had a bad boy like that in a very, very long time. So Darius Kasparaitis gives them that different outlook, that gives them that different personality. And hopefully the Islanders invite him back and maybe put his name in the rafters, because honestly, Darius Kasparaitis in the early 90s was really the face of the Islanders organization.
Big time he was, yeah.
So,
I know you brought up the bad boys. The last one they probably had was probably Trevor Gillies.
Yes.
That game against Pittsburgh when they won 9-3, and it was the Friday night fights, and they had that picture of him, and he's like standing because he got kicked off the ice, and he's just standing in the doorway with the door open, screaming at them. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite highlights of all time. Oh,
well, the one thing about Darius Kasparaitis is he never backed down, and he always had the personality. Yep. He always had the personality. As a hockey player, you always look for guys that really show their personalities, their mean tauntedness, and the Islanders, they didn't have those guys in the early years. I mean, they did. I mean, Bobby Nystrom was mean. There were guys on that team that were mean, but the Islanders in the 80s, they were tough, but they were finesse. They were a finesse team that played very good team defense, and under Al Arbor and what he did, it transcended into the 90s. And you thought that was going to change when they brought Mike Milbury. I wanted to ask him about what his thoughts about Mike Milbury is, because mostly everybody that we've spoken to over the years, me especially, has said Mike Milbury is the biggest ass they've ever met.
So my doctor from when I was really young, mm-hmm. He went to college with Mike Milbury. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know this. He just decided to tell us one day. And he didn't tell us, but, I went to school with Mike Milbury. He goes, Mike Milbury is a dick. Mm. And,
I believe it.
That's how everyone described him. And you know what? I believe it too.
Well, I met Mike Milbury for years. He was actually scouting me when I was a kid. I was 17, 16 years old. I went to the scouting camps out in New Jersey. Mike Milbury was there. Ted Nolan was there. Ron Wilson was there. So I had a chance to talk to Mike Milbury years and years ago. He always had this nasty look on him. Didn't look like a very nice guy. We've heard Neil Smith say it, that he was the biggest ass. Yeah. So, and that says a lot about, when you have Neil Smith, who's probably the most timid, quiet person you can interview. He's pretty, calm and collective. When you look at somebody like that, and then you look at guys like Mike Milbury that will pull his skate off to try to kill you with it. I mean, I don't know if you know that story when he took his skate off and went out into the audience, went out into with the fans to try to kill somebody with his skate. So I mean, Mike Milbury didn't give a crap, and again, I respect Darius Kasparaitis because he didn't step back and say, this is Mario Lemieux or this is Wayne Gretzky. I'm going to hit the SOB. I don't care. I'm playing for this team. I'm going to stand for them. And I was very surprised when he was traded to Pittsburgh, because I know Mario couldn't stand him. And Jaromir Jagr, built to love him because of who he was and the type of personality he is on and off the ice. And Darius has a very unique, and he still looks the same. I mean, he still looks, it's pretty crazy. He hasn't aged. It's amazing how these guys still play and still compete. And he's playing in Miami against some of these ex-NHL players. So great get by you. He was a fantastic interview. And thank you to Darius Kasparaitis and giving us the time that he gave us. So he gave us like a good 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was a good show, man. It was a good show.
A lot of fun. And next time we'll get to talk about the Super Bowl and talk about how much money I won.
Oh, or how much money you lost.
The most I can lose is $30, okay? Until I put it into my box.
$30. Oh, you're a big spender, man. You.
But hey, I can win like $50, okay? Off one box.
$50 off of one box. You're the man.
hey, it's in the green. It's in the green.
It's in the green. Okay. All right. But yeah, we'll be back next week. I know you're speaking to somebody else, a very special guest. Hopefully we can get her on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in contacting with some of the players from the PWHL New York and hopefully trying to get them on. Mm-hmm. They do a great job and they're a good team and they put on a good show at UBS Arena. Yes. So if you haven't had a chance to go down there, I would definitely recommend it. But stay tuned for more information regarding that.
Well, it's great, man. Congratulations to you. I mean, you're getting some good gets and ex-Islanders. You have ex-GM for the Rangers. You brought him on, and I got a chance to interview him on our show, and he was fantastic and great personality. Neil is fantastic. I just hate how the Rangers treated him at the end of everything. But the guy has been, the mastermind of that 94 championship team for the Rangers. And they haven't won one since then. It was so funny. When they won it in 94, I stopped being a Ranger fan in 93 when they won in 94. I was waiting for the Stanley Cup. They finally won when I couldn't stand them when they won the Stanley Cup. And it's so funny when you speak to Neil Smith and he tells you, why he decided to trade Van Beesbroek. It's really unique when you hear the story, and it makes you wonder why you stopped being a Ranger fan. But hey, I'm not a Ranger fan anymore. I'm an Islander fan, and things happen. Tables turn. But thank you, Lyle, and I'm excited for the next show Monday at 7 p.m. and looking forward to putting on good content and just entertaining people as we always do.
Definitely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Cross Island podcast. I am Errol Marks, my co-host, Lyle Gillian, saying good night, and we'll see you next Monday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.